Hello, I'm going to be redrawing this picture. It's a picture I drew back in high school. High school crush, Avril Lavigne, 2002. Skater boy days. This morning I saw a post on Instagram. And guess who it was? Out of all the random people, she pops up in my feed. Looks like she's doing a greatest hits tour. So I'm going to redraw this picture. And this is going to be in 2025. Coming back around. I'm going to be listening to a playlist that I made. If you want to follow along, I'll post the playlist. It's not going to be Avril music. Sorry. My alarm. Alright. I'm going to draw with my... See, I use blue a lot. You can tell I use blue a lot. I like blue. Blue is my favorite color. And it's just soft. I like to build up my darks, build up the value. Something I've noticed with this one, and this is before I went to high school and learned from an art teacher that really helped me out with the value scale, the darks and the lights. You can see how this black is a pen, but it's the darkest thing. But in pencil, I just drew with a number 2 pencil, and I did my shading and everything. But like, it should be darker where the shadows are, like, and then the eyeliner and everything, the pupils of the eyes. It's all kind of generally the same darkness shade. And also, I mean, the hair, I didn't really take the time to draw the lines. Features are a little bit off. I mean, you know, we all learn, and there's little tricks that you can do. In fact, you know, this is something I've always struggled with as an artist, is that, like, tracing, right? If you have... I don't know. I just kind of felt like a little guilty about tracing. Like, tracing is cheating. But you know what? It's kind of like training wheels, and the fact that you're copying something, hey, copy it, you know? Trace something. Use tracing paper. I'm going to reveal something to you. I traced an image. I feel almost like I shouldn't say this, but what I'm going to say is, I traced an image, and then what I do, I don't trace the whole thing. I just don't want to mess up the proportions, and that's something I'm currently working on. So then after you do that, you kind of use it, and my art teacher taught me, everybody's different, but you can kind of lay down... I don't know if you could see this, but you lay down a very light line that you kind of traced. So I have some of the guidelines here. What I got to do is I fill them in with what skills I do have. And as I learn, I don't have to do this. I don't have to use tracing all the time. In fact, I don't. The more that I use this as a guide, though, it trains me to... see it, and then eventually I don't need it. But that's just the thing, is that we don't always need tracing paper, and you could tell, I don't know if you could tell, but I still struggle with it. I don't like the idea that I use tracing paper, but it's just the way that it is. I don't think I did it for this. So I know that I can get the proportions fairly close. But anyway, here we go. What I do is I pull up a reference image. The reference image I was using, what I'm going to be drawing is this is her greatest hits tour. In one hand, I hold this, and I'm holding it and I'm drawing at the same time. So I draw from reference. I'm looking at something. When I'm drawing a picture for someone, I am looking at it. I'm drawing, I'm turning my head, I'm looking back. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start here. So I zoom up into there and I'm looking at her. Looking at her in those eye-lined eyes just staring at you. I'm going to start laying down some of these shadows, the shape of her angled face. I always thought she had a cute face. You know, I liked her back when she was 17, 18. I think she was older than me at the time. I don't know how old she is now, but I think we're relatively close in age. She's got those lips, the Cupid's bow, which is like shaped kind of like a bow, you know, like a little Cupid. Got the little ends that go up and then it goes down. I always liked her teeth too. They're like really angled, kind of sharp. Little fangs, canine fangs. I got some fangs too. Also, her nose, as you could, well, that's something I tried to achieve in the other one too. She's got this kind of interesting nose where it's got these, the shapes of the forms in the cartilage of the nose. Right now I'm listening to Forest of Wishes by Clement. Like in my guides, I'm just looking at my picture right now. I have very faint, what you were seeing on that tracing paper, I have a very faint kind of placement of the eyes. That way I don't really screw it up. You know what I mean? So it's just enough to where I can, connect the dots. Over time you get better at estimating where things go and where you see that they go. Seeing spacing between different shapes like the eyes and stuff. So we got gonna draw these shadows. Like you're kind of pulling shadows in, and then you come in afterwards. You build. I have a kind of a sketchy way that I draw anyway too. I've always been told that when I'm drawing something, I'm drawing like over and over and over again, like lines. I'll draw like little some interesting things I have to share about. There's this thing called iterative drawing that I really resonated with. I hope the guy's still doing content. It was back in the day, and he actually literally saw in like real time after I was done doing the first exercise some improvement in my artwork just by doing what he was saying. That's that's pretty powerful when you are a slow learner. I'm a slow learner. So I'm already getting some kind of shapes happening here. She's got those eyes that are just piercing, that kind of grayish, like bluish green. Right now I'm hearing Jack Black singing "What a Wicked Game." Oh, it's actually one of my favorite types of versions of that song. And some of this shadow on here. She has like the bleached. It's got naturally dark hair, I believe. It's kind of funny, that image that I drew back in the day. I was like, I want her to see it. I want to send it to her. So it's like, how am I gonna do this? Like, how do you do that? How do you get in touch with some like, celebrity or whatever? And so I'm gonna try to do that again. Back in the day, it was what do you mean? Like find some teen magazine or something, and like, they got this little thing like submit your little drawings, fans. Now with the digital age, I'll just make a post about it and see if I'll get any attention for it. I don't know what I'm doing. Kind of coming back into it. Been a while. Drawing. Went into the workforce. Put this aside. Kind of have to come back to your roots. Another singer, that Reed Wonder and Aurora Olivas, When I Dream of You. My choice is my choice of music. I really like female vocalists, like they're singing to me. Just a little lover boy. Peter Pan has got a thing for the mermaids. thinking I might post this with a hashtag of her greatest hits tour, you know? Show a little love for an old crush. I'm using the blue pencil, so we'll see if I pull any other color in this time. Wanna know the secret? Is I'm not that great at coloring. At least that's what I feel. So I like blue. I like doing. I think I've gotten proficient at values to where I can now pull in, because I really always used to draw in black and white. So I can draw darks and, dark on light. So blue, kind of like a monochromatic. I like monochromatic too, which is a one color. Turns out all right. But I really admire an artist that can draw with colored pencils and build up that color, like when there's that skin color that's like got like passes of different colors, like reds and greens and stuff like that. Now she has a very, in this picture, the lighting, she's kind of a very white girl, some slight pink, to where the whites of the paper are going to come through. I'm not going to add too much like what I was doing in this picture. She's got a little tan, I wanted to make sure I captured some value, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use it to my advantage to just kind of let the white of the paper, it's almost like higher contrast of the light. Now I'm trying to capture this line and make sure I get this accurate. She's got a soft, the way this cheek's kind of at the bottom, kind of soft, a little pouty-ish, but she got a little chin down here, kind of points. Okay, let's move on. This picture isn't the most high res that I'm using as a reference, but I'm doing my best to zoom in here. It's kind of very pixelated. I'm getting enough of the information. So I can get these shapes. Got that little, I don't know what that thing is called. The turtle part of the lip creates that part of the bow. I really like shaping the lips because they're so soft. You got to be really careful with them, you know? So you got to like pull in subtle buildup of shading. So I'm following the contour of these lips, you know, I'm trying to like drawing a little line, little spider web of blue over. And also about these lips, the bottom line here flows into, there's an invisible line right here that connects right to the end going down. So I'm making sure I get that on there. I'm a little slow, I'm getting faster. I mean, it's kind of nice that I can complete these in a set time frame, kind of getting to be about an hour and a half. Some of these sketches that I'm posting, I used to be where it's like, man, there's that Cindy Crawford one that I drew on there was like 100 hours. It was nuts. I spent multiple days in class finishing that. Drew that in high school too. Still found it. Still proud of it. It's pretty good. That was actually after I started learning value from my teacher. I had no idea I was going to draw this today. I have another draw. Sometimes my camera shuts off, so I got to kind of keep an eye on it. I don't know when it last stopped. I don't really want to go too... Hair is kind of tedious. So you gotta do... As patient as I sometimes think that I am, I'm pretty impatient. I don't like to just sit and do the same thing over and over again. But it is worth it if you do it right. You can really make your artwork, your portraits, look realistic when you get the hair right. Which, what is hair? It's a bunch of little lines, a bunch of strands, so you just gotta draw each one. You're the creator. You know all the hairs on their head. So you got to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 450 million. Sometimes you'll draw like you'll overdraw something. Hair is kind of random, so just gonna make up something. Pull up a little something I like to do too is once you're coming into a shadow, like right here, which in the reference it's kind of a darker kind of spot here. You kind of just come out of that shadow, pulling some of the darker strands into the next layer. It kind of adds that dimension here. So out of the shadows, kind of pull. I don't want to go too dark. The pencil needs to be sharpened. It's kind of getting dull. You kind of see what I'm doing, right? Coming in here, we got some dark. Just feeling the strands of the hair. Just kind of going along with it. Don't go too short or you might kind of accidentally, break hair up. You want to try to follow the flow as best you can. That way it just makes it a little, and pull up your pencil off the paper a little bit. That way you're not keeping it down when you're doing your movements off of that stroke. Stroking it, stroking your hair. Pulling around this top of the head. Kind of get a feel for the hair, which is kind of just layered. Art is it's kind of therapeutic to me. So you're sitting there and you're just, gives you time to relax, Okay, now that this is darker portion, I'm going to have to pull in some darks. We've got hairs too. There's lots of little teeny, sometimes overlapping of these strands. So you're kind of naturally going to end up making it look like hair if you just do it like this. I mean, it's probably not, it may not look exactly like the photo you're going for, but no one's going to know unless they're like looking at it under a microscope and crazy like me. No. These portraits used to be pretty intimidating to me. Like, they're always a long process, a long task. Just me starting to do them more regularly and just sitting down and saying, okay, finish a portrait. Just spend an hour on it, you know? Just try to, do a little bit. Okay. I adjust the pressure a little bit when I want to make it darker, but at the same time still being kind of wispy with these. Occasionally just boom, then boom. Just kind of pulling a light, and then you kind of come with a darker one, and then you kind of just follow that. On the little hairs underneath, and you gotta come in with the bigger one, and after that you just kind of see which shapes overlap, and then you can kind of come in and come out of the shadows like I was saying over here. So you draw, like you have a shadow line, you kind of come off from that. If this is above it, it's not going to break that line, it's going to come out from underneath it, and then boom, comes out another one. Something underneath that. Just slowly building. I'm gonna pull this over a little bit. I'm stopping and looking at the cameras to make sure it doesn't shut off on me, because it does that. To be honest with you, this is new for me to kind of film myself. I'm not used to it. Talking to myself, you know. You know. A good friend of mine, I'm gonna give him a plug. Was talking to him yesterday. He was helping me out with my content. He was saying you should make make a long form video, and then that could be turned into a short form. And then you could describe what's going on, you know? So one's, it's going to be like raw, you know? I say you know a lot. You know? This hair, man. Maybe there's some people that really enjoy it, think it's really fun. The darkest parts of this image are the eyes, the hair, the little kind of features of the nostril, the shape of the chin, little teeny spots. You could just pull out the dark spots. And even those lips, the top of this, there's a value that's kind of, it's one of the darkest parts of this. Put my pencil in my apple. Little sharpener here. You know, it's interesting. I went to this person's house and they had one of those old school kind of grinding sharpeners, you know, back in like, you do it, crank it by hand, like what they used to have in schools back in the day. Oh man, it was the best sharpened pencil I ever had. The lead was like long and very sharp. Wasn't like a stubby kind of, it was very angled, and I wish I had one of those. Because another thing I'd like to have one day, if they have to exist, is like a mechanical pencil, but a mechanical colored pencil. So you can get that nice, ever sharp line, so I can get the details. I like the details, and you get in there with, after you block everything in, you get to a point like I'm almost, because there's not much more to add here in the eyes, so I can kind of go a little darker now. It's so dark anyway, so now I can kind of just on this little eyelid here, and boom, dark. Follow this. The eye kind of goes down like this. And then you got the eyelashes going up. Caked with mascara. I think this thing's got to be heavy. Keep that goth look. Went through a skater phase that was literally probably partly because of her. It's funny seeing my son kind of do that too. Have his little skater phase. Never seen him ride. It's a tough skill is being able to ride a skateboard. You fall and fuck, that hurts. I used to like Tony Hawk Pro Skater, that video game. That was one of my favorite games. Nintendo 64. Feels pretty good to come back to this and redo it. I can't tell you how many times I've looked at that drawing and I'll be like, man, but who's got time to draw, you know? Nowadays, when you're just trying to survive, sometimes you just gotta just step out. Ooh, doesn't get kind of long. And you kind of pay attention to the behavior of why is mascara that way. I mean, it could be painted on, but then there's also those eyelashes are kind of clumped together. So you kind of pull an eyelash out, you kind of pull another one in. So you got this kind of like these little caked up pyramid looking things. Now I'm coming in, I'm tightening things up. Another thing about my scribbly approach is, this isn't the best example of it, but I draw out the shading, I shade in the dark, and then I come in, and the more dark it is, the more it kind of tightens the that dark line and information. So it's coming in. Camera stopped again. It's got to be a file size thing. and eyebrows, it's like you draw a line out. This is how at least I do it. You're draw a line to connect it. You got less hairs, but still the darks of the eyebrows are usually from clumps of hairs coming together. So it's kind of try to build the same thing. Homage for Avril. This is what this is. I start to draw these little hatches when it comes to the shading. When you gotta be soft, you kind of build it up like you're building, it's called cross hatching, when you draw lines following, very faint, and they build up. The white space behind them kind of adds to the softness, meaning the space in between these strokes allows the light to show through the paper. Then I can come and follow another contour of it, cutting across those lines, cross hatching them, and then that will build up the dark. And then coming back in on this. Even though this is, I'm just going to kind of add some kind of darker value to these lips, just a little bit. You see, I'm just kind of clouding it in a little bit. It's very subtle, it's very soft. Even could do some of that in the cheeks because you got a little bit of red in there. could pull in some purples in this just to kind of keep the blue, the cool blue, and then get that little teeny bit of red in there. This is kind of coming in the cheek shape. Morning. Oh, hey. How are you? Good. Back at it. Coming back to this was a long day. Grabbing the blue. Coming in over the top. Overlap. Down. It's nice to just zone out and draw. This. Not sure what music I'm going to put to this when I post it. The one on TikTok's going to be an Avril Lavigne song, of course. One's been kind of going through my head ever since this morning when I was thinking about doing this. The I'm With You one. That's what I'm going to do. Not singing. if I should have put this little necklace on there. Hope it comes out alright. It's pretty cool. It's a little guitar pick necklace. And I remember like kids in high school were like dressing like her and stuff. The wife beater shirt and the, which was just the undershirt of a white kind of thing, and then the overalls, the long hair. Girls were dressing like that. Skateboarding was popular. I have a choice if I want to make up my own design in there. It'd be kind of cool. I had a really emotionally exhausting day today. I really need to release that. Just dragging on me. Just feel zapped. It's real life. You know, we all deal with things. Going over and over these lines till you make out the shape. Go back up, follow the way the hair is going. It eventually reveals itself as you're going over it. Boom, boom, boom. We're beginning to see it, see? You want it to flow with what you're doing. I was thinking today, as I was digging a hole outside, line dancing, like drawing to the music. You guys can't hear my music, but I'm drawing to the music. Line dancing. My line. I like music that's got a beat. Oh, man. Getting old. Some darker here. This is almost done anyway. I don't need to really overdo it. But I do need to put some darker values in here. Little Cupid's bow. I really liked her lips. Some of this. It's a little dark. Lips usually got those little, like a, I don't know how to describe it. They got little creases in them. We are really close. To go into the next color. And me just saying it's finished. Okay, moving on to the next color. I need to get some nicer pencils. These have been working well, but they're not the brand that I really want to try. I'm going to try those Prismacolor ones. I've heard good things, seen good things. If you could notice, but there's a slight darker and more saturated blue that's happening here, which is going to add to the value scale. I'm only pulling it into the areas that are darker. Now I'm going to go up into the mouth. I'm going to pretend that I'm going live here. I'm just zoning out and kind of talking a little bit, but if I was going live, I might be putting some music on in the background. I know I'm going to be doing I'll give people a playlist to follow along with me so you can hear what I'm listening to and maybe catch a vibe. I am locked in. You can see how the darks are kind of popping a little bit. Double check I'm still recording here because it stops occasionally. This is going to be the darkest areas, these eyes, so I'm going to make sure I really hit this one. This bottom eyelash in what I'm looking at is like a solid, like fin of black. I don't know if it's just probably my picture quality, but I know it's got some eyelashes in there. Not just a I'm not going to pull this dark blue out. I'm just going to keep it in because I want to draw people in to those eyes and lips. Blue ski in there. All right, now what I have been doing is kind of pulling in some oranges to kind of complementary color to that blue, which kind of ends up desaturating it and making it look almost darker. I kind of pulled that into the eyes. But I'm going to pull in a purple and see what that's up. What's going on there? Yeah. It's kind of bringing in some reds, or which is that necessarily what I want to do? I'm not sure. She's got a lot of greens in her stuff lately, in her design and brand. Gotta look what I'm doing. I don't want to pull too much extra color in. I mean, sometimes I like to get into the lips a little bit, but, you know, let's see what happens. Pull in some purple. Kind of as opposed to the pink. Some of that warmth. This might be where I'll pull in some maybe some orange. We'll see. Orange would be good on her cheek. Really light. This is not a color I really want to pull too much into. I'm not sure. I mean, I gotta experiment more with color. I just know that I really like the blue. I don't want to ruin it. But I'll be making them so many anyway now, so it doesn't really matter. It's practice. Not going to bring any into her hair. Okay, this, well, let's say I bring some of this into the eyes. Let's see what happens. Got the deep blue, black. So if I pull it in here, it kind of, you could maybe kind of see it's darkening it a little bit. It's that almost like illusion because the complementing. Yeah, it's like it's adding like a dark value. That's why you like using that when I want to mute something. But if I pull it off of that blue, you're going to see this really bright orange, which doesn't necessarily work with what where I'm wanting it. So I kind of just hit it on top of the blue. And then because eyebrows are sometimes give that extra definition, I'll pull them in there. I'll pull a little into the mouth here. This looks more like a shadow because shadows are muted, you know. And I don't really like using black because it's dead. It's like a dead color. It's I'd rather make dark color out of all the colors, like a brown or complementary colors, because it just seems more artsy. I like how it looks. Kind of like light, you know. Light is a combination of all the colors, the white light. But like if I were to put black on here, you'd be able to tell. It just, that's one thing that I think I've learned is that I can make my pictures stand out a little better if I'm doing color by not using black, but only on like the ultimate spot. Like I'm gonna come in here with pen, and that will be the black. Black is very strong. Yeah, you can kind of see this looks kind of like almost like pencil lead. Which is good because that's what I usually like drawing, just complete black and white. But it's only when I'm working with color that I will be kind of a little sparing with the black. Only in certain areas. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done it so already. To be completely honest with you, I don't really like the way we all kind of have to be on social media nowadays. I mean, I'm embracing it because it's a new thing, and I do want to put my stuff out there, and I've been off of it for a while. But when you feel like you have to, that's not the most fun feeling. I don't want to overdo it with this thing. I'm almost regretting that I touched it. Should I? Pink. Please like and subscribe. Okay. I did kind of leave that part of the hair kind of blank. Could just be really white, you know? It really is. It's blonde in drawing. I just want to pull a little bit more. Show some of that condensing. Okay. I mean, I have the black right here, but I think I'm going to go straight to pen. Which realistically would involve her, like all her eyeliner and stuff. Just going to make it pop. Gotta make sure I don't ruin this part. This is kind of extra tense because, you know, you do all that work and you gotta come in with this permanent marker, you know. I'm pretty confident it'll be fine, but there's always that little bit of tension of what if something happens, you bump something. do you guys think about when you're zoning out on drawing? Some of the most random thoughts. Or thoughts just kind of come and go. It's kind of like mindfulness meditation, you know? You just let it come and let it go. Just traveling. Want to pull it in here? I'm just going to leave it in the eyes. Well, eyes and the nose. Touch. $2025, 2002.